Thank you very much, Martin. So as Martin said, you can raise your hand to talk with us, to ask any questions, or you can use the chat here, or even the page, the webinar page in our CEF Invoicing user community. So to finalize this webinar, so we're going to briefly talk about the grants that are still available until the end of this month to implement invoicing. So the 2017 CEF Telecom grants, so you have until the 28th of November to apply for a grant to implement invoicing in your member states. So basically the grants were launched in June 2017, and the consortium, as you can see, this is just basic information about the grants. You can have access to more information in the INEA website or via CEF Digital. So the consortium should be composed of minimum 2 private or public entities from one or several member states. We have an indicative budget of 10 million euros and 75% of eligible costs, with an indicative duration of the action of 12 months. So this is the two main objectives for this call. So uptake of invoicing solutions complying with the eInvoicing standard and its ancillary deliverables by public entities, uptake of invoicing solutions compliant with the standard and its ancillary deliverables by solution providers and public authorities. And of course, the promotion of e-delivery is something that is also valued in your proposals. So the deployment of the delivery building block or use of e-delivery through a service provider. And of course, this is to be used in conjunction with one of the two objectives. So here is the website where you can have more information about the CEF Telecom grant and the invoicing grant in specific. And so now it's your time. You can ask us questions about what Martin presented, or about the grants, or about the CEF invoicing services. So just please feel free to talk with us or use the chat function. We will also send a follow-up email asking for your feedback on the webinar. And also with the link for you to subscribe if you have not done yet so, to subscribe to the upcoming webinar. So I see here a question about the presentation. So the presentation will be uploaded in the webinar page, and together with the recording that will be available very soon. I will share the link here. So I see that Doina Krishna raised her hand, so you should be able to speak now.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
About the BT83, the remittance information. If I understand correctly, the seller is the one who needs to put the reference somewhere on the invoice message, or is it because when you send the invoice, you have this remittance information included in the available XML of the invoice. So you need to give the reference, and that reference needs to be used by the customer when he makes the payment. Am I correct?
Exactly. When the customer is initiating the credit transfer, this information is part of that initiation. And when the supplier gets his account statement, or depending on what type of information he gets from his bank, but then the remittance information is mentioned there, so he can, the circle has been closed.
All right. So just wanted to make sure that this is the initiated by the seller. Thank you. The number.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
So please feel free to raise your hand or to use the chat function to pose any questions if you have. So as I said, the presentation and the recording of the webinar will be available in the link that I just shared with you. And we will send you also a participation survey for you to fill in, so you can provide feedback on the webinar. I don't know, also, Christian and Martin, if you have anything else to add?
No, nothing specific. If there are no more questions, I have nothing more to add. Yes, a short thing. If the question that just came up on the remittance information, the standard, the European standard itself has is describing this the business term in more detail. So you can check there if you want more information on that.
Okay. I have here a question from Pasi Mai, asking, does the pay reference have a preferred format like the international RF reference?
Yeah, let me just give me a. It is described how to use it in specifically in SEPA payments, and let's see. If remittance information is structured according to the ISO 11649/2009 standard, it should be mapped to the. Yeah, it is described. I don't know if it's described in full detail that's necessary, but there is guidance on format. It doesn't say exactly how the remittance of. I think there are different schemes on how to implement this, and the standard allows for several, but it describes how to use it specifically in SEPA. So I again would refer to the standard.
Okay, thank you, Martin. So we still have time. I see that most of you are still connected. So please feel free to ask any questions. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I think we can close the webinar. Thank you all for joining. We hope that this has been useful for you. So again, we will share the presentation and the recording of the webinar via the webinar page in the collaborative space. And the collaborative space is also the place where you can interact with other invoicing stakeholders and it's basically a space for you to serve your needs. So just engage with us or directly there via the space to interact with the stakeholders and to ask your questions or to address specific invoicing topics. So again, thank you very much, and thank you, Christian and Martin, for the presentation. And I hope to see you all very soon in the next webinar that will be held next month. We will also send you information about this. So thank you all, and wish you a very good week.